Long ago, way back when Abraham was alive, God made him a promise. God promised that he would make Abraham's family great and would give them a land of their own. God had promised all throughout the history of the Israelites that he was giving them a land flowing with milk and honey. After years of eating manna in the wilderness, milk and honey probably sounded pretty good. Now they were finally there and ready to enter the land.
The Israelites asked God if they could send scouts or spies to check out the land. God told Moses to select one man from every tribe to go and spy on the land and see what the land was like. He told them to see whether the people who lived there were strong or weak and how many there were. He told them to check out if the land was good or bad and if there were trees. Finally, God told them to have courage and to bring back fruit from the land.
So, why did he tell them to bring back fruit? He knew that this was a great land, but he wanted the Israelites to see for themselves. Bringing back fruit would show everyone that God's land was as good as he said.
The men spent 40 days roaming around the land and scouting it out. They found some large grapes and carried them back on a pole. They returned to Moses and said to him and to all the people, "We came to the land to which you sent us. It is great land. It flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. However, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities seem very secure and very large. We even saw some of the scariest people there." Caleb said, "Let's go and take the land. I believe we can do it." But 10 of the scouts said, "That land will eat us alive." And the people were humongous. We look like grasshoppers compared to them.
Ooh, what is happening here? Out of the 12 scouts that went into the land, 10 came back very discouraged, not believing that there was any way they could take the land. But 2 of the scouts, Joshua and Caleb, knew that God was trustworthy and that if he said they could take the land, then they could.
The people became very upset. They began to grumble and complain, saying that it would have been better to die in Egypt or to die in the wilderness than to go and die fighting for the land. They began to talk about finding another leader who would take them back to Egypt.
Are you kidding me? Egypt is where they were slaves. They had to do hard labor. They weren't free. They would rather go back to where they were captive than trust God? And how many times had God already proven to them that he was trustworthy? He brought them out of Egypt. He provided for them in the wilderness over and over. They were choosing to trust only in what they could see instead of trusting in what God had promised.
Joshua spoke up. He said, "The land we just scouted out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land that flows with milk and honey. Don't rebel against the Lord. Don't fear the people of the land, for they are nothing. We know the Lord is with us because he gave us this land. Do not fear the people." The people became angry and wanted to throw stones at Joshua and Caleb. But the Lord's glory appeared. He spoke to Moses and said, "How long are these people going to grumble against me?" God told Moses that the 10 scouts and all those who didn't believe would never enter the promised land. The Israelites would wander in the desert for a total of 40 years. Because Joshua and Caleb had believed God, they would lead the next generation of Israelites into the promised land after the 40 years had ended.
Joshua and Caleb showed they trusted God by believing what he said. They wanted to do things God's way, not their own. The other Israelites, though, didn't trust God. They trusted what they saw more than what God had said. Joshua and Caleb remembered that God is always good, always loves us, and is always in control. The Israelites focused only on themselves and what they could or couldn't do. They looked at their enemies and only realized how small they were. They forgot to see how big God is. We are all separated from God because of our sin. We cannot fix that on our own. When we only focus on what we can do, it is impossible to live forever with God. The only way for us to be forgiven of our sins is to believe in Jesus and to ask Him to be in charge of our lives. We trust in Him by faith, meaning we believe what He has said even when we can't see it. God is trustworthy.